Hey guys, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Sajady here with Mas on Sundays. A lot of good stuff happening, guys, this year. For those of you who are joining me new, again, welcome. And I sound like a broken record, but for those, because we get so many people joining in, it's like, what the hell is this guy about? In fact, I was in one of my favorite restaurants now, and it's just a small fast food place, but it's called Taza. For those who are Persian, taza means fresh. So it's basically, it says fresh on the sign. And it's really nice. He talked about, what we do, what I do, and all that stuff. He looked me up, and I went back. And it's really good food, by the way. So if you're in the Minneapolis area, the Chanhassen area, go visit them. Taza, Taza, and tell him Ma sent you, by the way. Um, anyway, he comes up and he was so excited. It's like, I saw your Moss on Sunday, and I looked at, you know, some of the episodes, and it's like, it's really different. It's really changed. It's like I always thought that way, you know, and he just kept going on, and he goes, "Yeah, my wife saw it. It's like, wow, it's really cool. It's like these were real answers," and that was his words. Like, wow, these were real answers that I was looking for. So again, welcome. For those again who are new, I've had two near-death experiences, so I see things out of this matrix. I see things above, because whenever you look at something, say, over something or above something, right? Or outside of something, you get to see things very, very differently. Very simply, like if you look at your friends, that mess up a lot, that fuck up a lot, right? You're observing them messing up a lot, right? But they don't see it, right? Or if you're looking at, say, somebody who's depressed or alcoholic, they see a reality that's not really there, if that makes sense to you. So, in this human consciousness, most people, the 7.8 billion people or somewhere around there that live in this consciousness really don't see what's really there, what's going on. But, and this is what exponential intelligence, is about. It's like it elevates you to that higher level, much higher level, where you go, oh shit, that's why stuff happens the way they do. That's why, in this case, I'm depressed. That's why I'm anxious. That's why this is happening to me. That's why I can't keep creating success, or that's why I have success but I'm not happy, which happens to a lot. That's why I don't have success and I'm not happy. So again, you get to see the underlying reasons, or from a science point of view, as Elon Musk would say, it's the first principle or first definition on why stuff happens the way they do. So it's really cool to see that what I say resonates with a lot of people. Although you might not agree with it, there's that truth that hits you. So just notice that. So in this scenario, by the way, we'll go into the deep science on why most people are depressed. Again, the first level reason on why depression happens, and then afterwards, I will analyze you. Okay, and you don't have to tell me your name, or anything like that. I'll tell you what's going on with your life, uh, which is really cool because I'm not just analyzing you. It'll flip that switch where your life starts to change. There's so many people that write in and go, "Gosh, I listened to a Moss on Sunday and my life changed." So that's how powerful the frequencies that I generate is about. In order for you to find more about that, you can go to mossajadi.com, or the lecture series, or even the podcast, Exponential Podcast. Just look it up, Exponential Podcast with an X, not with an E, or Masajadi on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast vehicles that are out there. All right. All right. So depression. Why are so many people depressed? And it's really interesting to note. I was looking at some of the statistics, and they're all over the place. And that's what the problem is with the society, by the way. Everybody has their views, and none of the views are correct because it's not a top level reason. And I don't want to get into the science behind why it's not a top level reason, but just overall, in short, guys, if there's exception to the rules or beliefs that you have, it's not a top level reason. Simple as that. Nature is always at a top level reason. For example, gravity always works the same in any situation. It doesn't matter how happy you are, how bad you are, how wealthy you are, how fat you are, how skinny you are, whatever it does. Gravity works the same. Right? It works on the same principles. Uh, any physics principles, again, at nature's level, not our understanding of it, always works the same each and every scenario. So if your solutions or if your beliefs do not work in all possible scenarios, then keep searching. That's the problem with science, by the way, especially when it comes to depression. Depression. So science, they always go, "Wait, it's science. It's valid, and you want to trust science." Well, if you did, and they think it's so real or it's so true, then there's a lot of issues with that because every decade, scientists always go, "Well, hey, you know what? We totally fucked up. Back then we thought this." And now it's not that at all, because we've got new instrumentations, new understandings, right? So again, if there's always exceptions to the rule, you're not at the top level. And then also to reproduce some of the scientific effects that they do in their studies, every variable has to be exactly the same to get the same results. Now, you tell me, in life, is everything the same for everybody? Obviously not. So again, those scientists need to go back to work or come to XI and I'll help you understand the higher understandings of science, so we get the first definition on why stuff works the way they do. I talk about this because back in the day, they used to treat depression by a lobotomy. Seriously, they would cut your head open. If you're depressed, they would take a piece of your brain out, the frontal part of your brain, and they would think that would fix lobotomy. They also used to do electric shock. They also would put people in padded cells. And by the way, that still happens today. And I'm sure you've heard the story of this young girl, 10 years old. They were trying to put her in a padded cell for 6 months because they couldn't control her depression, anger, and so on like that. I worked on her for like 10 minutes, and she was like massively changed. Now, I'm not saying I'm a psychologist, I'm a medical doctor, anything like that. All I'm saying is that there's science behind why you are depressed, okay? Not something, fuzzy or that fuzzy logic, but really solid science on why you are. And to prove it, there's how many of you that are XIers that were depressed and aren't because of XI? So please comment in on that, okay? And share that story. Okay? Go a little deeper, share that story so other people who are new, other people who are depressed can actually go, oh, there's actually a solution for it. Okay? So I was looking up on some of the statistics, and this is where the randomness comes in. I was just looking on rate of depression in the U.S. on Google. Okay, so in one website it said this number represents 7.1% of all U.S. adults, 7.3 million adults that are in, say, major depressive episodes, which is quite a bit, actually. 8.7 in females, 5.3. So why is that variation? I can talk about that. And then with COVID, actually a lot more. And within 3 months of, in this article, it says that people with COVID-19 are likely to develop depression, anxiety, and dementia. Nearly 20% of COVID-19 patients develop a mental health issue. Why is that? And so on and so on. According to WHO, we really got to trust those people, right? The 10 countries with the highest prevalence of depression are the Ukraine, 6.3%, United States, 5.9%, Estonia, 5.9, Australia, 5.9, Brazil, 5.8, Greece, 5.7, Portugal, 5.7, Belarus, 5.6. And I'm going, wow, the United States at 5.9%, again, around 17.9 million people depressed. It didn't feel right to me. And again, that's why people always go, oh, I got to fact check, and they fucking go to Google, and it's like, you know, forget the fact check, guys. Again, do more than just like Google. By the way, even the government uses Google. I didn't know Google had become an authority for the government. You think they do their own research, but I looked up another way. How many people are antidepressants? And this is more than 37 million Americans. Obviously, more than. So, again, when you look at statistics overall, or when you look at facts overall, guys, do a lot of research. Right? Do keep doing your homework. Look at other avenues, other sources, other resources before you make a decision. Just don't look it up and go, oh, Google said this. Okay? That's a side note. But again, 37 million, which is very different than the 17 million. It's almost like, well, twice, probably more. And with COVID, it's a hell of a lot more. Okay. So why is that? And you can look at all these articles again on your own time if you choose. This was I used to have low grade depression and anxiety attacks, which again is much more higher than low grade depression. I had to carry a paper bag in my car and volume meds in my purse in case I started to have an episode. But actually, I changed all that. Again, notice why that happens. Again, people just writing in. So thank you so much. Um, this one, Sunny Woods, I've struggled with depression my entire life, but I've not experienced depression since working with you for now about 7 years. Again, actually brings tears to my eyes. Normally, I don't get teary eyed, but when you when when you're depressed or anxious or even addicted, um, there's a lens of what a lens that there's a lens that you look at life through. And it's really, really sad because what I see in you all is the brilliance, the grandness that you are. But then you see all this bullshit that's in your face, and you think that's what the world is about. So there's a sadness in there because, well, for several reasons, but it's like we all don't see the beauty and grandness of the possibilities. If you want to call it a God or pure source, however you define that, that's given to you like this fantastic gift all around you. Okay, and then you don't use it. And then the sad thing about it all is that you blame that higher source, however you define it. You blame all this stuff, but all you literally have to do is take the lens out. And I'm not blaming you guys, but literally what I do or what XI does for you is like shit. You take the lens off and you go, oh, that's who I really am. Okay? So that's the number one leading cause of depression. You're seeing this reality through a lens that's not real. You actually are living this life through a lens that's not real. The identity, the body that you have, the body shape that you have, how people age, how people look at raising children, which is even more worse. And that's what really makes me sad because I look at beautiful kids. Have you ever noticed? And I was looking at the younger kids, they were just playing in the park, with my daughters, and my daughter's really beautifully bright. And I look at all these other kids and they're like 3, 4, 5 years old, and they're just bright as hell. They're just in the moment and they're enjoying life and they're just loving life. They look at a piece of wood. This one kid was looking at this little piece of wood and just like enthralled by it. It's like, oh, that's really cool. Some of you get back into it with XI. You get to see life for the first time. It's like, whoa, walking. That's really cool. And you're 50 years old, because for the first time, you're actually experiencing how it is to be in a higher level form or your spirit form. I would call it your timeless identity and be in this space. Because if you were awakened at such a high level, anything that you do, just like sitting, would be a euphoric experience. And then things like, adventure or intimacy and sex and all that stuff even, elevate you to a higher level. So that's how euphoric this world is, guys. It's not a world. Don't believe the religions and society and all that stuff. It's not a world of sacrifice and pain and suffering. I mean, it is because those possibilities are available, but you can choose that stuff or you can choose the other stuff. I'm not saying it's la-di-da time or you live in a magic castle where everything is perfect. I'm saying that all those experiences that you have don't have to like burden you or harden you or destroy your life. Those things could be an adventure, a feat of adventure to elevate you, to get you stronger. If you've ever been on a journey like a car trip, and say something happens. Something happened to us on the car trip from California to Minneapolis. Long trip, but it was great. I got to connect with my teenage sons. Something happened, and we could have taken it as wow, all this and, burden. But if you've ever gone through something like that, some difficulties, and then you rise above it, do you notice that that part of it, that was the adventure, the highlight of the, say, the trip, and because it made you expand and grow. Okay. So the number one part A reason on why people get so depressed is because those opportunities for you that seem really tough, or block you or depress you, um, which are actually there to, say, support you, to show you your weaknesses. Well, people have used them to, say, ignore what they're seeing, and then it pulls them down. So again, just to reiterate, think of all those experiences that, say, weren't the best experience at the moment, but then later on you cherish them. Like, say, getting fired. Like for me, dying twice. For me, getting fired. Actually, I quit. Um, but anyway, how many of you, again, comment in, uh, at first deemed something negative, like it in the XI world? It's like, people call me up and go, Moss, I quit my job, or I got fired, or I divorced, or I did this and this, um, or somebody died, or, all this. And it's like, but I feel really good. What's going on? Should I be worried? People who had COVID, when COVID first started, it's like, well, everybody's anxious. They're listening to the news. They're all this, and but I feel really calm. Should I be worried? It's like, no, you're learning from the experiences around you, right? And it elevates you. That's what nature does. But the problem is that over time, nobody's really learned how to resolve problems properly to for you to expand your inner expansion. By the way, a book that I'm writing, which should be coming out soon, hopefully soon. So a lot of you have asked for a book. So yes, well, I'm writing a book, by the way, called Your Inner Expansion. Um, but those situations that were supposed to, say, expand you, there's so many of them out there, and there's a reason for this. There's so many. There's so many reasons. There's so many, say, problems out there in the world that it's burying us as a whole, as a society, and that's, again, number one reason, part A, on why there's so much depression, because we're getting buried by the burdens of society. Why is that? Because generation after generation after generation, the generation before us didn't resolve their problems. They just handed it down, kind of like a baton, a baton, like on races, right? They hand off the baton to the other person, they hand off the torch to the other person, they hand off the burdens of the previous generations to the other person. Look at your issues or your problems that you have today. Does it come from your parents' patterns? Let's take a deep breath in. Notice any problem that you might be depressed about. And you go, well, if just this, and here's the second part two of why people are so depressed. So again, close your eyes or keep them open. Take a deep breath in. The problem that you're depressed about. And this is why you're not the only one that is miserable and so unhappy in the world. By the way, more and more depression. I would ascertain that more than close to 70, 80% people at some level have a degree of depression. And there's different types, by the way. But as you observe why you're depressed, okay, would you be happy if that problem was solved? Notice what shows up for most of you. Some of you go, well, yes. Again, probably the newer people. And the reason why is like, well, yes, because you've never experienced that, right? You think something new is going to help you out, right? You fall in love. I need somebody. You fall in love, or you try something new, and then you're not depressed anymore. Wow, cool. But then you'll always have to try something new for you not to be depressed. You'll have to always try to fall in love again for you to depress. How long does that last, right? And that's why you go to relationship to relationship, or job to job, or business to business, or I need more money, Moss. I need another $1 million, Moss. If I just make 10 more million, I have a client like this. I'll just 10 more million. And he was like this back in the day. I just need to make $10 million and then everything would be okay. That's how. So he came to me going, Moss, my business needs to grow. I need to, I don't know, use that 2 or 3 million. I need to make 10 million. And I'm going, dude, it's not the way it works. And he was so adamant on it. It's like, you know, I know if it's like, I mean, look, you've been married 3 times. You've done this, you've done that. And he's like, yeah, but I just need to make this money, right? How many of you are in that boat? I just need to do this and I'll be happy for the rest of my life. I need to connect to Godhead. I need to go do more spiritual sessions. I need to go do whatever, pray more, go to church more, go to the mosque or whatever it is, that people do. And then I'll be happy. And then, fuck, you're not. There's a reason for that, because those solutions would have made you happy, but now there's an underlying program for you to be depressed, unfortunately. So even those things that would make you happy in a normal world, if we didn't run underlying, say, depression frequencies, they don't. So you'd be much happier depressed. And I know that's like a slap in the face to some of you. It's like, what the fuck is he talking about? Why would I be? It's not that you'd be happier. I'm not saying that, but you'd be more comfortable in that mode, because if you've been running patterns of depression, if your mom or dad, if your grandparents, if it's a part of your family, especially like suicidal type patterns, it's really awkward for you to be different out of that frequency, because it's still in your DNA, it's in your genetic makeup. So again, you would gravitate towards things that would pull you into depression, anxiety, and again, sometimes suicide. So why is that? Because it's a learning behavior. It's called evolution. Humans do evolution wrong, not just in depression, but in all aspects. So again, most likely depression, severe depression, okay, anxiety. Look around you, look in your family. You'll see that that comes from, and I'm not blaming them. You shouldn't blame them either. It's just part of, again, the hereditary pattern or evolution. It's in your DNA. They've learned that for some reason, again, your DNA or your cell structure is a mechanism of survival. Okay, uh, and that's the third reason why people are depressed, because people are just surviving in this world. Okay. And I'll just get into that in just a bit, and then we'll get into a deep state meditation. So a couple things. One is the evolutionary process. Uh, at some level, we learned that if we're, and say that through wars, okay, or through loss of wars, from what I'm seeing. Okay, and that's just one example, by the way, or a death or a loss or whatever. Somebody got depressed, okay, but they survived. Okay, and this is where another facet of this comes in as well, as I analyze all of you as a group. Somebody survived. The gene mechanism, your DNA goes, they survived. And then they pull in, okay, your DNA is alive. Unlike these scientists that go, no, your DNA is just coded, it's hard coded, it doesn't, it changes all the time. It's like, oh, we survived. How did we survive? Oh, they got depressed. Okay. It's like, oh, that's a survival mechanism. In this reality, I guess depression works. We didn't learn it the other way, okay? Because we didn't, again, we just connected that way. So we just assumed. And then what happens? The next generation, you're born with, say, depression. Off the go, your default state would be depressed. So if you're a little kid, if you're out there, as a kid, it's like, shit, as a kid I was even depressed. It's like, yeah, well, that's why more and more kids, unfortunately, are on antidepressants. I see 4-year-olds on antidepressants. I go, what the fuck? Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? This is the reason why. There's nothing wrong with you chemically. It's like, yeah, there's obviously, if your programming is set for depression, your chemicals are going to be off to depress you. Simple as that. But doctors at a surface level go, well, it's just your chemicals. You fix your chemicals. But then how long are you going to be on antidepressants? Without antidepressants, why can't you survive? With XI, you can. That's the key, right? You people get off their antidepressants. Again, I'm not saying I'm a doctor or anything like that. But people get off their antidepressants, they get off their suicide watch type situations and all that. Why is that? Because they found themselves, they found their higher level. Okay. The other aspect I was going to cover and I forgot. Hmm. If you guys can help me out, what was I going to cover? Um, so so oh, um, survival and thriving. That's what I was going to cover. Because again, that's the number two reason um, people in this reality start to become depressed, or the masses become depressed. Most people, again, I would ascertain uh, at least over 80% now that I'm seeing it, is that they're surviving, not thriving. Your innate state, your deep core level, your blueprint level, your again, your innate state, your purest connection to who you are at a genetic makeup, or even if you want to call it your spirit, your limitless self is supposed to be thriving. Okay, if you and we did this on today's 18 days, 18-day hyper meditations, actually, which started today. Okay, so you still have a chance to sign up, guys. Go to masajadi.com. 18-day hyper meditation. It's the fastest way to transform your life in 18 days, by the way. For many of you who are new, just take, no matter how advanced you think you are, just take the essential, the once a day. For those who have been here before, XI has done an essential. I would take the accelerated. Okay, again, especially in this time, really we take that opportunity of all the things that are happening in the world to accelerate you out of this stuff so you can see yourself from a higher, or you can exist from a higher reality. But anyway, coming back to the this next reason of thriving, surviving instead of thriving. Like nature thrives. If you've noticed, it's thriving, it's abundant, right? It doesn't just survive. Nothing in nature just survives. It's at its best possible self all the time. Are you at your best possible self? People go, well, if I make money, then I'll be. No, I work with a ton of people. If I'm poor, then I'll be, because I'm closer to God. No, you're not. If you're not thriving in this society, and again, thriving in this society means that you're healthy, you're happy, you have money to do with whatever that you want. It doesn't matter. Again, that's the definition of thriving here in this society. Okay, in this reality, in this consciousness. So outside of what your beliefs are, if you're a mechanism or if you are a being that's set for thriving, your natural innate state is to thrive no matter where you are in a reality or on a planet or anything. If the rules dictate that you need money, okay, you need shelter, you need, whatever, the internet, you need whatever to thrive, you will be abundant in it. Okay. If there was a new reality that says, hey, you know what? I need like bananas all around me to dictate that I'm thriving. Again, it's just an equation, right? For you to thrive in this reality that you need bananas around you all the time, somehow there'll be bananas all around you if you're thriving. So if you're not thriving, no matter what you're, rework your spiritual identity, rework your religious belief systems. I'm not saying they're wrong, but they're probably not the same as a Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, or any of those great individuals. They'd be thriving. Okay? If you're not, again, look at what they did versus what the church or the synagogue or whatever. Again, I'm not knocking them down. I'm just telling you to go back to the core. Even in scientists, or even if you're atheist, if you're not thriving, go back to whatever that you need to go, shit, what the fuck's wrong? Why am I not thriving? Why am I just surviving? And then again, the survival, you're so far pushed down that you get depressed. Okay. So so again, it's not about if I just did this physically. It's about you putting yourself in time. And that's what we're going to do right now. So now you understand, oh, there's different types of depression, and we'll go through that. Let's take a deep breath in and I'll break you down um, into groups on why, say, you're depressed. There we go. Breath in again. Notice how you're feeling right now. Again, this is an experiential show. It's not just about me telling you stuff. And notice your chest. And then for those who feel pressure on the back of their head, just notice that. There you go. So let's switch you into thriving mode. What you'll experience is you'll experience all the stuff that's holding you back. So some of you might get, say, depressed a bit more. Right? Again, it's an opportunity. I can't change the physics on how you elevate yourself. Those things are an opportunity for you to, again, see it from a different perspective. So, again, a lot of things will show up for you. Right? Don't think of them as blocks. Right? Take a deep breath in again. This time around, we're going to do it right. This time around, we're going to see what blocks us, and then we're going to make a different choice. If you don't know the different choice, you just observe and not make a choice. Right? It's very important. Um, and as you remove those patterns, so what I'm helping you do is one, you're seeing those things that you think are depressing you as a huge boulder in front of you that you're trying to push uphill, because that's what life is, right, for you. What I'm doing, again, I'm not changing your problems right now. I'm just changing your reference points. You're much grander than the problems you have in life, because your life right here is about 1% of the power that you are. Literally, space and time, your experience here is 1% of your potential. Backed up by science, by the way. They say all the things in this world is literally makes up 1%. All the physical things of this world is 1% of what's out there. Think of it. All the planets, the gold, whatever we fight for, technology, 1%. So breath in again. You can notice your upper back. Some of you going, well, Mas, I'm depressed because I have this. No, you're depressed because you don't know who you are. Right? So again, your problems are a boulder, a huge rock you're rolling uphill, and it's square. It's not even a round boulder. You think you're small. That's your problem. So what I'm doing is flipping that around. So you see yourself as the grand being that you are. The potentials, possibilities, your problems feel a lot less to you. You still have those problems, but then you're using the power of who you are to find better solutions. People go, well, somebody just died and I'm depressed. Of course you are. It's a great opportunity for you to awaken and go, wow, my aunt, my grandmother, my whoever died. It's like you look at their life, and awakened death, by the way, is an opportunity for you and them to release all their stuff before they cross over. It allows the rest of the people in the family to let go of the burdens of the past. Okay? So, in an awakened death, I've gone through several of them this past year, a couple of them actually. It's sad. You still feel that heart space, but it is an expansive awakening space. Again, a feeling of exhilaration at a higher level. Breath in again. For those people go, well, chemicals are off. Yes, they're off because the underlying reason is that you're disconnected from yourself. You're disconnected from, again, an expansion of your problems and a reduction of who you are. So, again, once you expand who you are, reduce the problems, you'll gravitate to those things that are needed to get you back hormonally or chemically in balance, right? Whatever it might be. But if you don't flip that around, you can take those all you want and it doesn't help, or they're very short term. Breath in again. Notice that calmness that you are centered. Imagine yourself operating from this position all the time. There we go. Imagine how it would be. And then we'll just keep moving on. Every week, Mass on Sundays, uh, we meditate on the leaders of the world because they always want to say, they always say, it's like, we're doing this for your safety. We're doing this for your own, your good. But what level of goodness? So let's go to the pure level definition of good, right? So it's good for all of humanity, no matter what race, color, sex, age, right? It shouldn't make a difference. Good is good. One doesn't have to suffer to for others to again blossom, right? Nature doesn't do it that way. So again, pick any world leader that you want: corporate leader, world leader, religious leader, um, and focus in on them. And then I'll work on them through you. I know it sounds strange, but a lot of science behind it. You can look at it on my website. There we go. And as a note, as we get more and more people today on the 18-day hyper meditations, and the fastest way to transform your life, just by listening, by the way. There's people all over the world. As more and more people join that consciousness evolution of, again, evolving beyond, say, this reality, we can really make, say, dramatic changes. There we go. Not just band-aids. Wow. Notice how you're feeling. So again, notice how you feel. Operate from this feeling as you look at your problems or why you think you're depressed. Spatial reference. Spatial referencing is becoming aware, and we do this on 18 days, by the way. If you're new, again, spatial referencing would be about objects around you and then you. Okay, so, oh, the door is to my right compared to, so you want to see the door, and then, oh, compared to like where your shoulder is. So it's always the object, okay, in your environment, and then a body part. Okay. Or if you're advanced, your whole body. If a smell, somebody's cooking in the kitchen and the kitchen is behind you, right? The kitchen is like there compared to, your ears, or a sound. Where is the sound originating from compared to your body? Again, it's always the object and then you. It's just like a GPS. Try it out. I know it sounds strange, but there was this one individual. He did this for a week. he got off his meds that he was on for since he was a 14-year-old kid, and he's like in his 30s, literally for a week. That's how powerful it is. You can use all your five senses. Okay, so and these are if you do this immediately, again, you'll see that you're more in present state. Again, you're connected to that higher consciousness, so you get the grandness of who you are. And just we'll just walk through, and we'll just take a little time. Again, notice any objects that are around. At least try to pick at three. Again, like a GPS. It's that triangulation, right? Look around you. Look at a body part. Like look to your left, whatever's to your left, compared to your ribs. Sounds around you compared to your head. Any sense around you, even the touch of what supports you, and then the body part that's being supported. Even the taste in your mouth. That's more of an internal dialogue on how your chemicals are. Unfortunately, it's not used well, but through XI, especially if you do the total human reset with us, which resets your whole body in the 18 days, um, your tongue gets to get cleaned out, because of the diet that we do. Um, and then your chemical balances come into tune. So again, the taste in your mouth, your body uses it to reference the levels of chemicals. Unfortunately, with all the coatings and all that stuff that's not food that we eat, it messes our system up. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break, guys. We're going to come back and I'm going to analyze you all. Okay? So we'll be right
have
back.
unlimited possibilities. It's so much power. I popped into a completely new consciousness, a new version of myself.
I've had both conventional and non-conventional therapy. I did the plant medicine. That still didn't do it for me. Nothing did it for me. Nothing until the 18 days did it for me.
Yeah, so many significant changes, and now literally life, it's like a system. Everything, all my relationships, all my experiences, everything is like working together to really create like the best possible situation for my evolution. So it's really beautiful.
My perspective on everything has just changed, out of this victimhood. Everything is here to help us. And I didn't know that till I started XI. This is only to strengthen me. This is only to get me to the next level. I haven't seen a modality that really empowers you to take your life back into your own hands.
All right, guys, we are back. Again, welcome back. For legal reasons, because the world we live in, I have to read this statement. This is Sajady with Exponential Intelligence. Sunday, what is it, the 8th or the 6th, I believe? Give me a second. The 8th, 8th of August. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't diagnose or heal. I can scan your frequency signature and tell you what I see. So please, if I give you any medical advice, consult your doctors for professional advice. Fortunately, the medical society, and again, not cutting them down, but they need to work on their perfection. It's the third leading cause of death, medical. Anyway, don't want to get into that. If you ask to be scanned today, you're agreeing that we may use your session on any public media to help inspire others. So remember, if you don't want us to share your session, please don't ask to be scanned. Some of you go, well, hey, you scan me and then I wanted to delete it. No, don't do that. Just, you can do a private session for that. Okay. Again, if you ask to be scanned, we get to use that content. By the way, I don't use your name. You don't even have to put your name on there. It doesn't matter to me. All contents are protected by copyright. You may not use our content in any way, shape, or form or any purpose without our written permission. Please type in your request only once, because if you keep copy paste, again, it takes time to read, and I just won't read you, by the way. So all right, so just once. All right, and if I've read you before, guys, let somebody else have a chance. That'd be great. As a note too, there's a lot of copycats, so be aware. If it's not XI, if it's not from us, Again, there's a lot of people copying XI, and there's no problem. There's a lot of XI. There's a lot of people, healers or therapists or doctors or lawyers or whatever, that practice XI, or they're healers and they help people. That's totally fine. But then people try to copy us, and again, that's not good, because that's not XI. So be mindful of that. XI approved, I guess. All right. As a note, the way my abilities work is that I don't need to know your name or anything like that. Your essence, even if you're texting or commenting here, uh, precludes you. It's always with you. It's like an IP address or a text message. I used to be a computer programmer. A text message, right? It has your IP address, where that came from, and all that. You have a personal frequency signature that I can tap into. Simple as that. So it doesn't matter again what your name is. Um, this one is Julia Hawks. Hamas would love a scan. Sure, Julia. Seems like your relationships are really, say, turning. I think in the past, you would be that you in your family, you'd be the type that the females in the family would be the burden takers of the the men around them. So again, always that, say, burden nurturing pattern. Okay, your kids would be, um, you'd nurture them, but it'd be a burden for you. Anything, again, um, yeah, anything, say, abundant, definition of abundant would burden you. So that's that pattern. So basically, you're leaving that pattern. It's like, hey, I can nurture, I can be, part of this relationship, and I don't have to be burdened. So that aspect of you is releasing. Really nice job, by the way. This one, Indra, the power of flower, love to be scanned. Sure. Yes. So for you, again, you're leaving a masculine identity, you've always, again, you're a woman, a feminine frequency, and, you do all the feminine things, but at a deeper level, there's that masculinity in you. So that aspect of you is leaving. This is where you might experience, well, no, I'm really feminine. I do the makeup and not whatever, and maybe you don't. But I'm just saying, you might look feminine on the outside. There's some models that I work with, top level models. They're gorgeous as hell, but they run a masculine pattern. So it's because it's a protective space, unfortunately, especially in that industry. It literally, they're beautiful on the outside, but very scared on the inside. So they create a masculine identity. So they don't enjoy the beauty that they are, because, well, they get abused. So anyway, so that kind of pattern, maybe not that extreme, but that's what you're walking away from into, say, more of an XI woman, where you're just strong and you're safe. So again, congratulations on that. Somebody mentioned the newest podcast. Yes, so I have a podcast, XI podcast. It's on spatial referencing. It tells you the logistics on spatial referencing. And again, guys, try it if you're really depressed. Again, so many people have disconnected from their depression. Let's see here. There's so many comments here. I love the comments. Thank you so much. There's all my clients follow Moss. I'm just looking back here. You go, M. Leonard, can you please scan me? Thank you. Yes. So for you, again, there's a sense of newness, or it seems like there's an adventure that'll show up. You might be going on a trip or something like that. You might go alone or with just one person. Whoever that you're thinking of going with probably won't go, which is what it's needed. So don't like cancel your trip or anything like that. Just go, because there's a reason for it. It's finding your own identity, because this is where you are. You find your own identity. You expand. You rely only on yourself. Okay, that's what it's about. It's not that and then when you come back, you're a whole new person and you're really invigorated. So that's where you are. So again, whatever that shows up, um, yeah, whatever shows up, again, um, go for it. Yeah. Don't don't hold back, because that, and that's another key too for you, hon, is that is like you've always held yourself back because of somebody else. So that's why this trip that you're going on, and again, please comment in like Julia did. She said that my scan was spot on, so thank you. So it's not for my proof. I know that I'm accurate. I've worked on 100,000 or more people, individual cases. So again, I know my craft. It's for you to understand. It's like, what the hell is that guy tapping into? So if you been an XI, it allows you to again tap into the same space that I do to access that information. If you're new, or a scientist, go, whoa, there's something there. So either way, again, it's not for me. It's just for you. So again, please write in. But anyway, back to that person I was analyzing. Again, you've always waited for somebody, and then how long are you going to wait? So in this case, there's going to be a situation where it's like somebody's going to go with you, but then they're not going to go with you, and then you go, God, go, and then that breaks that pattern, and then you're in time again. Okay, you're not waiting, so to speak. Big hugs. Can you scan our family? Well, not your whole family. Can you scan our family and delete the trash? We released a lot in the last 2 weeks. Yes. So this is BLU H2O, blue H2O, blue water. That's pretty. Yeah. So again, as the compact family was you, your wife, and 3 kids, 2 kids, 3 kids, 2 kids, 3 or 2 kids. There's something going on with that one. One, you might have lost a kid. So I still see 3. So we can work on that real quick. Or one is, say, distant, or one is from another marriage or something like that. But it's like 2, 3. It keeps flashing back and forth. So either way, anyway, so take a deep breath in, or your mom might have lost a kid. Is there a loss? Yeah, there is a loss of kid, by the way. So anyway, that pattern is releasing from you. So what that means is that when people lose something, okay, and this isn't like your immediate family, but 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 3, 4 generations back. Say there was a loss of, oh shit, there's a loss of like 3, 4 people all at one time. Maybe a car crash or a drowning or a fire or what, that kind of group, say, lost like that. What do? We hold on to everything possible, or the people living hold on. In your case, in your family, they've held on to everything about them. So that basically means that they hold on to time as well, and time keeps dragging them, and they latch on to everything, right? So they hold on to everything thinking that it's precious, and it is. But when you do that, you hold on to everything, so all your burdens, because you make the burdens even precious, right? When you lose something, even say that, and this is unfortunately it happens. Say that somebody is just angry all the time, or not a good relationship, they die, right? Especially unforeseen, but they supported you at some level. um, and then you miss them, you cherish even the moments that they were angry with you. That makes sense too. So basically that's a family pattern that you've all run. And then you're going, shit, why do I cherish these things that aren't worthy for me? Why? It's like, why do I just like cherish it? It's like, but I love them. I love their idiosyncrasies about them, because you'll turn it into that. And it's like, and then that idiosyncrasy burdens the hell out of you. So again, there's positive idiosyncrasies, and then there's negative idiosyncrasies that people hold on to. So in your family, you tend to on to hold a lot. So in your family as well, and you might be the opposite, where you throw everything out. But like, this is where hoarding comes in. This is where all that stuff, where you just like hold on to everything, right? Every letter, every whatever, just in case something disappears. Whew. So anyway, you'll be cleaning out your house, by the way. So this one's Melissa. Please scan me. Sure. Um, so for you, Melissa, you're actually dropping into your body, which is good. You're always in your head. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the last relationship that you've had, the last 3 relationships, maybe not this one, but the 3 before, in your 20s, basically, there was a series of like 3 types of situations or relationships that just like boom hit you, and then you just it's like fuck, it's too hurtful, too painful. I'm going to tap in. I'm just going to use logic. I'm just going to go into my head. And that's where you stayed. But when you go into your head, you feel lost. You're kind of like a balloon just floating. There's no well, sensuality or connection or communication between people because, well, you're in your head. Your body, brain, your cellular memories, your DNA is what experiences, say, joy and passion. Most people think it's in the head. It's not. Most people think, or scientists think, well, it's just a release of, you know, good feeling hormones, and if it's really not. It doesn't work that way. Your DNA literally communicates differently, and it feels euphoric, and that's why love, passion, joy. It's a body feeling. Again, it's not about the chemicals. It's about how it is about chemicals. It's about the proteins. Again, the RNA. Okay, that's really a big talk nowadays. Again, and scientists don't know what the hell they're doing with it. No offense, but it's just very rudimentary, very base level, say, understanding of what the RNA is about. So in this case, um, when you feel that euphoria or joy, okay, it's not about chemicals. It's about your DNA communicating very differently through your RNA, through proteins that communicate, change the structure of your cell. And this is where euphoria happens, right? And that's where, again, a different way of putting it is that, well, when you do meditations with me on the 18 days or anything, right? What do? Right? What's that euphoria that you feel after you get rid of all the shit? It's that connection, that communication with your DNA and your cellular structure. So that's where it comes from. By the way, we're doing a vaccine after effects. Right? So what we found out, and what physicists have found out who've studied, a few of them have studied my abilities. They just tested it on human DNA. So my frequencies that you're feeling, most of you, even if you're not, it still works on you. Um, Break apart your DNA. I broke apart. So the test was a cell phone breaking the DNA, and the test was well, the cell phone breaks. They wanted to see if the cell phone breaks DNA, and I could repair it. Okay, so we did 2 vials of human DNA, different women, uh, from placentas and stuff like that. So it's human DNA, and I worked on the vial, and basically I broke down the DNA faster than the cell phone did, or faster than the vaccines do, because that's what I see the vaccines doing. It breaks down your DNA. The difference is that that's how your DNA repairs and resets itself. It unplugs itself and then rewires itself so it communicates differently, right? Um, but the cell phones, the vaccines, and so on like that, from my understanding, which I believe is more accurate because I see the bigger picture, um, is that it breaks down. So the vaccines already have done that, right? So what I do through the vaccine after effects, the meditations is literally, well, let's replug you properly then, because that's what I do anyway. Unplug you, so that thing has already done it for you, and then I plug you back in the way you should. So people who have done this with, and that's why these meditations have come through. There's sets of 3 meditations that have come through. People who have done this with fantastic results from the after effects of the vaccines. So, anyway, so that's out there for you if you want to do that. Also, the addiction recovery. Some of you are recovering. You're getting your life back on track. So many of you asked us, "Hey, Moss, can we completely disconnect addictions?" Yes, that's been successful. So we've been doing a recovery series, addiction recovery series. So even the most severe, like heroin and so on, people go, well, you can never get off that stuff. People have gotten off that stuff again through the process that we take them through, and that's on coming starting on October 13th. So take a look at that as well. Um, Please scan me. This is ARYYNT, Aren't, Aren't. And again, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. Please scan me. Yes. So there's always a defensive mode in you. Okay, you're always like pushing back people. You're always trying to protect yourself, and in that way, people think that you're standoffish, or that you're cold, or you're too ego driven, all that. You're really not. You're actually very nice. You're very kind. If people start to know you, but again, you have this hard exterior, and then that what separates you. Or again, people think you're all that stuff like that. But deep inside, you're really nice. So take a deep breath in. Let's just disconnect. That comes from, um, let's just say your mom was all over the place, not the most stable, right? So she'd get into whatever. Uh, she'd be destabilized. So when you're a little kid, like 2, 3, 4 years old, uh, Aaron, what you'd look at your mom, it's like, man, damn, she's all over the place. So what do? You protect yourself. You just build a block. So and then the family situations, you go, oh shit, this feels good. I mean, there's a lot of chaos around me, but this feels good on the inside. I'm safe. So you've used that as a protective mode, which is really good. And again, that's what kept you stable, but then it's also isolated you. That's why you can't connect. Although you have all the assets, looks, all those qualities thing, well, I look like this and, I'm not accepted, or I'm not funny enough, or I'm not whatever enough. No, you have all those qualities, but again, but you have a barrier. So that's why you can't connect. That's why intimacy and all that seems like you haven't had a lot, or it doesn't feel right to you, or there's a disjointed or disconnectedness. That's why. So again, you've created an environment which makes you happy, okay, but it gets you disconnected. What if you could just be happy without the space around you, right, and still be protected? So that's what XI does, because what XI does is like you resonate at such a high frequency that nothing else blends into you. Simple as that. So overall, there's your frequencies. Everything is a frequency. The higher that you resonate, okay, the less chance that stuff blends into you. It's easy. You don't have to protect. I don't walk around with a shield around me. I just resonate so damn high. Nobody fucks around with me. Simple as that. No matter if it's this reality, other realities, whoever. I always would say, walk into a room, full of CEOs, make a hell of a lot more than I do and all that. I tend to turn out to be the leader in any group. Why is that? Because all high level frequencies, the higher level frequency outside of, no matter how much money you make, who you are, how much intelligence, all that stuff always outranks anybody else. They might get egotistical and prove, but again, over a short period of time, the higher frequency dictates the group. Simple as that. So that's the real power, by the way, if you want to be a real leader or a true executive, that then they don't teach you in leadership classes. So if you're interested in that, it's not on the website because it's very detailed. Write in if you want like your business or top level CEO coaching. But back to you, Arn. For you, I don't know how that got started, but anyway, for you, um, increasing your frequencies allows you to stay safe. Right? It's a different method, and that allows you to be in the moment, be in time, because you're always out of time as well. So really nice job. It's an easy fix for you, by the way. Even this little piece will help you. This is Momina. Salam Mas, can you please scan me? Yes, I can. So yes, for you, you're really coming into yourself. You're really understanding, say, what a woman feels like, which is really nice. It's almost like you've always been treated as a little girl. Yeah. So even if you're married or relationships, you're treated as a little girl. There's a reason for that, and the reason is that um, I want to say 12 to 16, around that age, you basically time stopped for you, and you might even feel and look younger. By the way, yeah, um, yeah. So something happened to your father or grandfather, or a masculine frequency. Could be your mother if she runs masculine frequencies, which she seems like she does. Yeah. So anyway, time stopped for you, or you carried on their burdens, or something that you wanted to do but you were stopped. Yeah, something that you wanted to do and expand, you stopped, and it impacted you that you basically stayed as their little girl. Okay, so everybody looks at you as a younger girl. Your husband or your spouse, your partner, whatever, would look to you as a younger girl. They don't appreciate your wisdom that you have because you have this essence of a child that doesn't know any better. So anyway, you're releasing that. You're releasing that pattern. So um, yeah, you're releasing that pattern. The good thing about it is that the youthfulness, right? Uh, that's beneficial. So we keep that aspect, but then the wisdom shows through. This is the same as those people, those older people. They're in their 70s, 80s. They have that childish feel. They look, younger, but they have that wisdom. So that's that same idea. Just give me a second here. And by the way, as I work on one individual, I work on others as well. And this is what we do with the frequency spas. We literally use that same mechanism of holding back time, certain structures of time, like youthfulness, to help you age younger. So much it works so well that some women start getting their menstruation cycle back because, again, they're reverse aging, so to speak, which is a sign of youthfulness. So, there we go. This is KH Hamas. I'd love to be scanned. We'll do two more, guys, and then we'll run. I'd love to be scanned, please. Okay. So for you, there's a lot of frustration happening. You start one project, and then you don't finish. You start another, and then something happens. You start another. Something happens, and then you go, "Shit, I'm not good. I'm not consistent. I'm not this." But you actually are, because you put your life together, but you're always like forcing your life together. Imagine that, that your life is like on springs, and it's just like if you don't hold them in, it just like it just explodes. That makes sense. So what you do is this is your pattern. You created a big strap, and you just keep cinching it tighter and tighter and tighter, and you go, my life is put together. But then it takes a lot of strength to keep holding on to that, and then all of a sudden it just goes, it just expands again, or breaks apart. So that's your life, and then it's like all separate pieces. So again, you've done a great job putting it together, but we can do it. I would suggest a session, by the way, for you. But we'll initiate that process where you go, fuck. Well, one, a lot of the things that you're trying to pull back, you don't even need, because those are things of the past. You don't need to. For you also, you have that pattern of, well, I need to solve this before I move on. You're still solving problems like when you were 10, 12 years old. Again, you can let that stuff go. Okay. This is where you always say, um, this is where you're always proving yourself. That's where it comes from. So you're not necessarily proving, but you're trying to solve so you can move forward, or again, prove yourself to people and yourself, because you're not good enough. Um, yeah, and then also when you are the reason why you start a project, again, because you're trying to put multiple fires, but the other reason too, now, especially if you're doing XI, it's like you start a project and it's like, shit, I'm not going to do that. It's not like you're lazy or you're not focused. It's just that those projects that you're starting, especially after you've done XI, is that it's not taking you through the direction that you want to go. Okay, so basically what will happen for you, especially after this mini session on, which is good, you're not going to be interested in cinching or putting your life together. It's like, fuck, I'm just going to let it fall apart where it is. But it allows you to just disconnect, release all that, say, tension, and then you build properly. Simple as that. So a lot of things will change in your life, by the way. This one, just ignored, spot on. Survival. Please push me forward. Yes, 12, 28. So we can do that. This is Serena. I'm asking you to scan me, and then we'll call it a day. Yeah, for you, Serena. Again, You're really coming into your light, which is really fantastic. You might get angry or mad at people, which is really fantastic, because before you would just let people squelch and you'd hide or you bury your emotions. Okay. So you're probably going to like explode. Yeah. Um, so go somewhere, go out in the country and just yell and just release all that stuff that you've been suppressing. Okay. And then from there, you don't suppress anymore. You just live in the moment. So that's really key for you, which is really good. And then you're in control. And then you don't suppress again in the future. You hash it out. You resolve it. You talk. You communicate what your desires and emotions are about. So again, it helps you obviously in everything, right? So good stuff. Really good. All right. So a lot of good things happening. Again, the XI podcast, for those who are new, gives you the science behind it. Also, the Moss Experience. And the Moss Experience is on Best You. So go to Best You TV. I think it's bestyou.com or Best You TV. There's an app you can download on that. You can watch a lot of great shows of other people as well, which is really cool. It's on demand, personal development, basically. That I talk about the consciousness effect, consciousness evolution, those nature. So how to be a better human, so we can be a better world. Okay, so that's what that's about. Addiction recovery series coming up. Also the 18 days. Again, many good things coming up for you. So please like or subscribe to the channel. All you got to do is click, and then we'll get more and more people involved into XI, and we'll change the world. Next week, a whole new subject coming up. If you have subject ideas, again, send them in to customers@massajada.com. All right. And again, notice what you notice and then observe what you're noticing. Right. Peace.